Let me take you back. Do you remember the first moment that you knew that rock and roll was for you?
Yeah, I think around the period of time, at least, I got an acoustic guitar, and there was a guy that moved in across the street who played in a cocktail lounge band, you know. And he was giving lessons to one of the neighborhood kids who was a couple years older and had a little garage band. And I was bitten. And when I went across the street, and well, why do you want to take guitar lessons? I said, so I could pick up chicks. He climbed up on that bar stool, and that was it, you know. Been sitting on it ever since.
All right, let's talk about your show in Russia. How did it all come to be?
The Make a Difference Foundation is formed by a bunch of guys in North Carolina, and it deals with alcohol and drug abuse. And the Soviets wanted to be involved because there's a terrible alcohol problem, you know, in the Soviet Union, and a lot of alcoholism in young people. And of course the drug situation in America is pretty rampant. And as the governments got together through a guy named Stas Namen, we were asked to headline the event and come to Russia. So we went over there and met some folks and talked about it back in November. And we did it officially here in the States and put the bill together. And it's us and then the Scorpions, Motley Crue, and Ozzy Osbourne, Cinderella, Skid Row.
If I'm going to think of sending ambassadors over to Russia, Bon Jovi wouldn't be the first that comes to mind. You guys did, though. What was your impression of it?
It wasn't at all what I expected. I couldn't sleep the night before. I remember real well being in Helsinki, Finland. It's like freezing. It's way below zero. The snow's blowing just like you imagine. So I guess the way you're supposed to see Russia, at least in my mind, was snow and, you know, the big onion-capped temples, you know, the old churches and stuff. It was all those things. I couldn't sleep. I was so excited about being there, getting on that plane the next day and actually touching down in Moscow. It's sort of like the way America or Canada was most likely 25, 30 years ago. You know, it's not as bad as I thought, and it's not as good as it could be. You know, and they made me feel real comfortable there. People were wonderful. It seemed to me that they were as curious about the West as we are about the East.
Do you sense Glasnow's thing?
Yeah.
Yeah?
But the way, I mean, I was so protected in the 3-night, 2-day expedition, you know, that I didn't get out into the subways or, you know, that they take such pride in, or they're, you know, really out on the streets. When I was out on the streets, it was in our little tour group of the band and the Russians and the, you know, the tour guides. So you're not really rubbing elbows the way you'd like to be, but that sense, you know, was definitely there. It was apparent.